This video is brought to you by ncix.com. Great technology, selection, and service. Hello everyone, this is Dimitri with Harakanux, and EVGA's entrance into the peripherals market began with the X10 laser gaming mouse. This was a good learning ground for EVGA, but they are at it again with the release of the X3 and the X5 gaming mice with aggressive pricing and also sensor variants to fit your preference. Today we're taking a look at the optical version of the X5. This is actually $10 cheaper than the laser alternative, and I would recommend the optical infrared option when available. There's just something about its tracking that feels like true one-to-one in-sync tracking on screen and to your hand movement. EVGA is sticking with the symmetry being inclusive for left-hand users, and that's awesome. The top coating is not entirely white, it's got some sparkly grain in there for this sports car finish. It looks fantastic in my opinion, and the very fine finish is pleasant to the touch, almost like resting your fingers on the touchscreen, while the sides are not totally rubberized, but there is some texture that I find satisfactory, although extra grippy surface would have suited better. The mouse is very low profile, the top curvature does not fully extend to support the palm, and this would mainly be a claw grip mouse or some hybrid combination. For example, here's how I have to hold the mouse, resting my wrist on the mouse mat and clawing the fingers around. Despite the symmetrical design though, I found my thumb to be perfectly in place, along with the ring and pinky fingers content as well. The curve on the right side aligns just right with the ring finger, and it's clear that EVGA is not messing around. One thing I want to point out is the off-center braided cable. It is now on the left side. It doesn't really make any difference for mouse handling, but it's still worth mentioning. They have ditched the weight system from the X10 for these new mice, and at only 85 grams, the X5 is extremely light. I personally prefer something heavier for higher DPI levels, but fine-tuning the DPI to 800 and now is solid with target tracking and follow-up aiming. Primary left and right click register just fine with quick bounce. The X5 is equipped with arm-run switches rated at 20 million clicks, but I find the actuation distance to be less tactile than on my other gaming mice. You can still deliver an insane clicks per second given the fairly light nature of each click, but I wish the distance traveled was slightly higher. The scroll wheel is absolutely in line with what we were hoping for: hard and distinct scroll steps, fast and light enough middle click to be used in game without activating any scroll steps, plus the rubber bits to ensure accurate scrolling every time. Behind it is a DPI shift button with 3 red LEDs to show the 4 levels of sensitivity, and I suggest you set your most used DPI on every other level with higher DPI in between to avoid needing to cycle through to your first DPI. The browser buttons on each side have plenty of travel distance with great feeling registration, and most importantly, they're not intrusive on the opposite side, which was the case with the X10. For example, I've never accidentally pressed on the buttons on the right because they are out of the way. The X5 travels smooth, no problems with the feet either, and at the bottom you'll also find a profile switch button. Thanks to the onboard memory, you can have 5 profiles saved on the mouse. So I already mentioned the sports car coating on the white plate, but EVGA has added extra lighting bling on each side, the rear, and the illuminated logo for extra character. The rear light in particular gives off that surface illumination, and you have 7 color profiles that you can choose from, and while I think that's enough, many people won't like the fact that you don't get that full color spectrum to choose from. So the most important thing about the X5, it's using the Pixart 3988, which is regarded as one of the best optical sensors on the market, and also found on Razer's Death Adder and Asus Gladius. This is very good news for the X5 to be competing among the ranks of those 2 mice just mentioned. Just keep in mind white and glass surfaces are not compatible, but tracking on my aluminum mat was extremely accurate, showed no signs of artifacts, and just for $50 I am certain this is going to be a very popular choice for many gamers. Quickly, let's talk about the software. I love how you can select left or right hand use right there in front of you. Each of the 8 buttons can be set to function differently. I found the sensor on-off feature hilarious if you want to prank your roommates. and you also have the profile selector right at the bottom. DPI settings are adjustable per axis as well, plus the polling rate. I found it odd that mouse acceleration was on by default. Make sure you disable it. And here is very important surface calibration tool. Make sure you run that and set your desired lift height. Under LED settings, nothing out of the ordinary. There's a breathing effect you can do, some brightness control, and color selector. And finally, you can record some macros and manage your profiles in here too. Alright, so now onto some gaming performance. I fired up CSGO because you can't really test out the mouse unless you play some Counter-Strike, and tracking was outstanding. After a few rounds, I was very comfortable with knowing exactly where my cursor should go, and it was time to switch it up a bit. Battlefield 4 Hardcore mode will test your aiming skills and reaction time, where each bullet counts, and once again I was able to deliver precise aim on target, quickly tap fire, and the learning curve on the X5 has been very short, and I really can't say anything negative on the performance side. But overall, EVGA has done an outstanding job with the X5. Everything from the shape to the materials to all the switches, the lighting is well done, but most importantly, sensor selection is right on point with the Pixart 3988. And this for 50 bucks is totally worth consideration. This is a damn good value product. So guys, thank you so much for watching our review on the X5. Make sure to subscribe for more similar content, and we'll see you in the next one.